industry was going to handle things. And y'all slapped me on the front of North Carolina Lawyer magazine, so thank you so much for that. I was very relieved and excited to see that cover. And I think more than anything, I was really excited about the photo that the editors chose. It was me in a red pantsuit. And if you watched the Miss USA competition this year, you probably remember that I have a colorful history with pantsuits, a history that gave me a glimpse of what the North Carolina legal industry used to look like and what I wanted it to look like. So when I competed on the moot court team at Wake Forest, I traveled to a lot of different places. And one of the competitions I went to was a sports and entertainment law competition held in New Orleans, Louisiana during Mardi Gras. Now, of course, I had a genuine interest in sports and entertainment law and had nothing to do with going to New Orleans during Mardi Gras, which is exactly why I don't practice sports and entertainment law now. But while I was there, my teammates and I, we competed in a few courtrooms that were really cold. And so I chose one day to wear a pantsuit to one of our rounds. And these rounds were 30 minutes, and my co-counsel and I shared those 30-minute rounds. And this particular round, we had a really cold bench. There were 3 judges, and out of our 30 minutes, I think we collectively received 5 or 6 questions. Now, after the round was over, one of the judges came up to me and said, you know, next time, consider wearing a skirt suit because, and I quote, the male judges prefer to see women in skirts. I didn't receive any substantive feedback from this judge. Not a, you did really good, keep going, or you sucked, please stop. Instead, I just received comments about what I wore and listened quietly in the courtroom while the same judge whispered advice to our male opponents. Now, I was taken aback by this particular instance, and so I shared it in a Facebook group with a little over 1 million members. And I was shocked and horrified when women across the country, women who are attorneys in Louisiana, in North Carolina, in northern states, in Midwestern states, shared very similar stories. Women who were practicing attorneys who were told by judges to leave the courtroom for not wearing pantyhose, or women who were asked not to come back wearing red lipstick or red nail polish. Women who were criticized about the heels that they wore or didn't wear. It was something that was profoundly interesting and challenging for me to understand that something like that could still happen in this day and age. Now, after I shared this information and read those stories, I thought to myself, it's no wonder that there are so few women compared to men who serve as advocates in courtrooms or partners in law firms when you can walk in to argue about substantive issues and be relegated to talking about clothes and shoes and nail polish. Which is interesting coming from me, a woman who runs a fashion blog about women's professional clothing. But there's a time and a place. Now, it's easy to judge women who leave the legal industry after being worn out by the inequities that we face, both large and small. But it's also easy to understand why we want a level playing field. I'm not just talking about men perpetuating this behavior, right? In fact, the judge who made the comment to me during my moot court competition was actually a woman. She was a black woman. She was a double minority, like me, who may have faced racist and sexist comments her entire life. Like when a schoolmate of mine at Wake Forest mentioned that I only won the 1L trial bar competition at Wake because the judge was black and she wanted a black girl to win. Or when I was in high school and told that I was really pretty for a black girl. At times, North Carolina is marred by misogyny and racism. Other times, progress and change and innovation, like we've heard about today, feel like they're rinsing us clean. We have a rich and beautiful history here in this state that I call home, and it isn't a perfect history, but no state has that title. For 200 years, we've had a court that has been reflective of or a change agent for the people in this state. This happy anniversary is an excellent time to challenge ourselves to think what next year will look like, and the next 5 years, or the next 50. Imagine what you want this legal community to look like and know that each one of us has a responsibility to build that vision. Obviously, the vision that you have shouldn't only be a about race and gender, when you're thinking about using more innovative technology and different strategies in your workplaces, don't leave it up to the young people to figure it out. In fact, some of the most innovative companies in our nation are led by seasoned professionals, like Apple's Tim Cook at 58, Amazon's Jeff Bezos at 55, or Microsoft's Bill Gates at 63. Rather than rolling your eyes when millennials like me ask for flex work policies, try to understand that we sat at dinner tables with our parents during the Great Recession of 2008, watching as they were fired from companies they were loyal to for decades. Understand that because of that, we don't want work to define us, and rather want a life outside of it. Many in my firm, Pointer School, understood the concept of going to bat as a team. When it came to diversifying our ranks, it wasn't up to the black attorney to fix it. It wasn't up to the females to figure things out. Instead, the firm itself understood that this was an issue we needed to handle together. And so when we organized a panel and a reception to honor and celebrate Black History Month, in the 2 years that I had been at the panel and reception, I looked into the audience and saw the faces of white people and people of color learning and listening together. And when you're thinking about the Supreme Court here in North Carolina, know that having one of the most diverse courts in the nation, led by a Black woman for the first time ever, isn't a celebration just for Black people or for women. It can be celebrated by people of any race in this state, knowing that we don't make empty promises about glass ceilings being broken, but instead we put our money where our mouth is, right? And we demonstrate that race and gender alone will not bar you from reaching our state's highest court. Like we just heard, this has been done before by someone who looks like me. In the coming years, we need to continue proving that it's not just possible for you to reach your goals despite race or gender, but that it's probable. That we can't guarantee success, but we can ensure equal footing. There are still more milestones to reach, and it is your job to set the bar higher and to continue to lift this state higher. This journey to continued progress in this industry will be straighter and more quickly traveled if we refuse to leave the duty of solving problems to those who are most acutely affected by them. Take up the mantle, and we'll lead this state forward together.